It's a beautiful summer's day. We're about a week or so from August. From now onwards, don't forget to do this. Hello and welcome back to the No Dig Norfolk Gardener. Myself and Mrs. W enjoying quite a lot of salad meals over the last few days, and you can see the result here. We have the old discarded lettuce leaves, there are radish stems in here, carrot tops and onion skins. We've talked quite a lot about succession planting just lately, but actually, don't forget your succession composting. As we approach August, it's an absolute abundant month. We have very busy periods, same as you, through the year, but actually August is probably the most abundant month when we're harvesting so much out of our gardens and reaping the rewards of all the work we did earlier in the year. These lettuces now are starting to rise to flower. They're going to seed. That's fine, we've had lots of harvests of lettuce, but we're going to let those just do their thing. They're going to help the pollinators. I don't need that space quite yet. But when we do come to twist them out, of course, it's all food for Beauty and the Beast. These beetroots are not very far away, and as we harvest those leaves will also go to feed Beauty and the Beast. Now, if you're new to our channel and you're wondering who Beauty and the Beast are, well, they are our hot composters, and we strive to fill those every other day. As soon as we harvest something, in it goes. We mow the lawn, in it goes. When we've got brown material available in our garden, that goes in there to make the mix. If we don't have the brown material available, we know lots of local gardeners, and we just say to them, well, when you're doing a job, can you drop us a load off? In fact, I actually have, under some tarpaulin out in the front garden in the drive, John actually dropped us some stuff off. I just need to put that through the shredder, and that will give us another source of brown. Because of course at this time of the year we have lots of green, those lettuce leaves we were talking about. As we've been harvesting June and July's brassicas, all of the leaves that we don't use have all gone to feed the hot composter. These three that are here, it won't be long before we harvest those. And the outer leaves, once again, will go to feed the Beauty and the Beast. You can see around this plum tree that Mrs. W has planted some lovely, lovely dahlias, as well as some cosmos I can see. But it's good for your plants to actually be deadheaded. When you see the seed heads, take them off. Here's one here. So we'll just chop that off. And you can always tell because they actually look like little acorns.
Yeah, they're a little bit more pointy than spent flowers are, aren't they?
Yeah. Whereas this is a flower yet to come. And it's more round.
Yeah, more of a flat ball sort of thing, isn't it?
And I can see Mrs. W has actually been deadheading long before I got here. So all of these, they can all go onto the compost heap, or as we know them, Beauty and the Beast. Now, as we get toward the end of the season, so once we get into September time, we'll actually start to save seeds from things like marigolds. But for now, we don't need them. There are lots of flowers here. We will get lots and lots of seed. So do deadhead head... Hello, Poppy. Hello. Do head... Mind your nose, dear. Do deadhead those, because it will encourage more flowers to come. And although it doesn't seem a lot, all of a sudden, once you do this to lots of your flowers, you have lots you can add to the beast. There's this lovely green material. And actually this, the stem, is really hard. So it's actually starting to turn brown. So you're getting a mixture of brown and greens. These cosmos that you sowed earlier in the year and have planted into this bed, Mrs. W, they've been amazing, haven't they?
I know, they're beautiful, aren't they?
And they're amazing for the bees. They do love flowers that are quite open, that they can get into the pollen. The cosmos are ideal for that. But they do keep going over. And again, just deadhead them. And that can go onto your compost heap. There's so much material that you can actually be putting onto your compost heap. And with it being late July, approaching August, it's 24 degrees today in our no-dig Norfolk garden. That means that those composters, they will keep really quite warm. And they'll quickly compost down all the materials that we have collected. Even in the polytunnel in the greenhouse, you can be taking these leaves off up to your first truss. It aids your plants because it means that it will be able to get more air circulation around it, and those tomatoes will start to ripen even more rapidly. Got those lovely black cherry, Mrs. W.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by those because we haven't grown those before, have we?
No.
And they're definitely a different colour.
And again, it's more source of material to feed your compost heap. Here in Compost Corner, we've actually been emptying these bins. We've got a full load out of here. And you can see, compost doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to add this to the compost bays over the other side, and it won't take long before that becomes really lovely compost. So here's all the material. This is just from yesterday. We had a gorgeous barbecue.
Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it?
And then you can see here in this bucket, these were our spare aubergine plants. Our aubergines are producing quite nicely in the polytunnel. But these were some spare in case we had any casualties. But they'll now become a good source of brown. All of that soil, we can mix it together with the greens that we have. And the roots will all make really quite lovely compost. Here in this wheelbarrow here, these are actually peas. That's what they were. Good source of brown. I've been adding them to the compost heap as and when we need them, but I now need to fill this once again. So let's get those in there. Gone really quite lovely and crispy. I've got some grass to add, Mrs. W.
Yeah, that was from yesterday's mowing.
And all of this will make what you can see here. This bay is what we've been making all year. Some lovely, fresh, organic matter. In fact, there's a nice worm there I saw, Mrs. W. And it's
Yeah,
disappeared
there are
now.
a few worms in there, so that's
Yeah.
good, isn't it?
So
Lovely.
it's starting to get to its end, and you can really see that because it's really quite lovely and fine.
That's the best compost we've made so far, I think.
It is, yes, it is. And I certainly don't mind The odd twig of something hasn't quite broken down doesn't really bother me that that's there. In fact, that only helps with the fungal activity. Look at that. That is just waiting to go onto our new dig beds when we get to October, November and December. And then you saw me planting out some purple sprouting broccoli the other week. They've taken quite nicely. These were the plants that were left over. So I've just added those into here and they'll rot down. And the first 3 to 4 inch layer is actually all of the compost that we took out of the compost bins that you just saw me buy. Beauty and the Beast.
What we've taken out today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see it's not far away from being some lovely compost. It's not going to take long. What I shall do is I shall continue emptying Beauty and the Beast to get the best of the compost out. This will go up another 2 or 3 inches. There that will stay for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and as we continue emptying those hot composters, we'll just keep adding to that. And then in 4 or 5 weeks time I shall take my composting fork and turn that onto there. You can see it's not going to be too much longer before we have this up to where we want it, somewhere here. And I really would like to think that between now and sort of November of this year, I'll get another bay that sort of size, full of compost.
That would be great if we could. Yeah, really good.
And all of that, better for your plants, it's better for your wallet. It's less compost that you have to buy in. I have to say, since we made an additional homemade hot composter, that's why we've been able to make well over twice the amount that we would normally make.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't need it to be composted completely down. If you do what we do, which is empty it every 30 or 40 days, put it into the cold compost bins, it's already rotted down. And one thing that I do see is that when we fill that up, it doesn't actually sink anymore. It's already done its sinking in the hot composter, because all of that greenery and all of the browns, they've already composted. All it's doing is finishing off in those bays. Regardless whether you're no dig like us or you're a digger, there is nothing better than homemade compost to feed your vegetables. If you've been following our channel all year, or indeed for the last few years, we've been on here nearly 4 years now, well into our 3rd year, you will know that since we've been no dig, our harvests are so great. The yields we get are so much better. That's down to no dig. But no dig can't be no dig unless you can feed those soil organisms. And believe you me, there is nothing better than homemade compost. And if you want to see exactly how we made our DIY homemade compost bins, save yourself a bit of money, then watch this video next. Have a great gardening week, keep composting, and we shall see you on the next one.